Assalamu alaikum dear students. Hopefully you all are enjoying good health at home by the grace of Almighty Allah. As you already know, we are continuing the topic of some addictive drugs. The fourth type of addictive drugs is marijuana, the second name of which is hashish. First of all, we will study the definition of marijuana. Marijuana is a hallucinogen which is smoked. This blog is also included in the definition of marijuana. If we study about the sources of marijuana, these are given over here. It is obtained from the flowers, stems and leaves of the marijuana plant, cannabis sativa and C. indica. These are the major sources of marijuana. Another question on this page is write effects of marijuana. Small doses of marijuana result in a feeling of well-being that lasts 2 to 3 hours. High doses increase heart rate. It also affects the production of sperms in men and also weakens the short-term memory. These are the basic effects of marijuana or hashish. If we talk about the MCQs on this page, then the first MCQ is taken from the definition of marijuana. Marijuana is a hallucinogen. Marijuana is one of the most commonly used drugs in the world. Marijuana is obtained from flowers, stems and leaves of cannabis sativa and C. indica. Small doses of marijuana result in a feeling of well-being that lasts 2 to 3 hours. Well students, here is the long question, that is drug addiction and associated problems. First of all, we will talk about the definition of drug addiction. Some drugs often make person dependent on them or addicted. This is called drug addiction. Moving towards the long question, there will be some headings under discussion. Firstly, we will talk about the drug addiction a little. Drug abusers go through withdrawal of social contact or communication. Many studies by the experts of social sciences prove that there exists a close relationship between drug addiction and crime. Next, the heading under discussion is law violation. The compulsion for narcotic drug makes every drug addict a law violator and a criminal. Mere possession of a narcotic drug is a violation of law. Thus, every drug addict is subject to arrest by police. Next heading is involvement in crisis. Most narcotic addicts get involved in various types of crimes. For example, robbery, shoplifting, burglary, embezzlement, etc. Next heading is psychic patients. Drug addicts may commit violent crimes since so many become psychic patients. Last heading under discussion in this long question is social behavior. The addicts are very weak in their social behavior. They face social stigma, that is, the society dislikes them because of their unpredictable behaviors. So this is the end of long question, drug addiction and associated problems. These were some of the associated problems which have been discussed over here with proper headings. Next topic is antibiotics and vaccines. Define antibiotics. An antibiotic is a drug that kills or retards the growth, reproduction of bacteria. They are the chemicals produced by or derived from microorganisms, bacteria and fungi. MCQ is taken from the definition of antibiotic. Antibiotic is a drug that kills or retards the growth of bacteria, bactericidal and bacteriostatic antibiotics. Here is the important question: what is the difference between bactericidal and bacteriostatic antibiotics? Some antibiotics are bactericidal, meaning that they kill bacteria, while some antibiotics are bacteriostatic, meaning that they work by stopping bacterial growth. This is the major difference between bactericidal and bacteriostatic antibiotics. How many major groups of antibiotics are there? There are 3 major groups of antibiotics. If we discuss the MCQs, then first MCQ is taken from the difference between bactericidal and bacteriostatic, and another MCQ is there are 3 major groups of antibiotics. Antibiotics are among the most frequently prescribed medication in modern medicine. Now we will discuss the 3 major groups of antibiotics. Question number 1 on this page is name the 3 major groups of antibiotics. Answer to this question is there are 3 major groups of antibiotics. Number 1 cephalosporin, number 2 tetracycline, number 3 sulfa drugs or sulfonamides. We will discuss these 3 types of antibiotics over here. First of all, the definition of cephalosporin. Cephalosporins interfere with synthesis of bacterial cell wall and so are bactericidal. Cephalosporins are used to treat pneumonia, sore throat, tonsillitis, bronchitis, etc. Well students, this block contains an important short question: what is the difference between broad spectrum antibiotics and narrow spectrum antibiotics? Some antibiotics can be used to treat a wide range of infections and are known as broad spectrum antibiotics. Others are only effective against a few types of bacteria and are called narrow spectrum antibiotics. Next is the question: define tetracycline. And there is the definition of tetracycline. Last question on this page is what are the precautions for tetracycline? There, tetracyclines are not used in children under the age of 8 and specifically during periods of tooth development. Now we will discuss some of the important MCQs. Cephalosporins interfere with the synthesis of bacterial cell wall. Cephalosporins are bactericidal, not bacteriostatic. Tetracyclines are broad spectrum bacteriostatic antibiotics. Tetracyclines are not used in children under age of 8 and specifically not used during periods of tooth development. Next is the definition of sulfa drugs, sulfonamides. Define sulfa drugs. The answer of this question is there. Next question is write uses of sulfa drugs or sulfonamides. The uses include they inhibit the folic acid synthesis in bacteria. They are used to treat pneumonia and urinary tract infections. Well, these were some of the types or groups of antibiotics. Next, we are going to study antibiotic resistance. First question is what are the ways of resistance for antibiotics? The answer to this question is bacteria have number of ways of developing resistance. Sometimes their internal mechanism stops the working of antibiotic, bacteria can also transfer the genes responsible for antibiotic resistance between them. So such resistant bacteria make it possible for other bacteria to acquire resistance between them. Another reason for increasing antibiotic resistance in bacteria is their use in diseases in which they have no efficacy. So these are the ways of resistance against antibiotics used by bacteria. Next question is, what are the problems related to resistance to antibiotics, or how resistance to antibiotic poses a serious and growing problem? Answer to this question is there. Moving towards important MCQs on this page. First MCQ is taken from the definition of sulfur drugs. Sulfur drugs are synthetic antibiotics that contain sulfonamide group. Next MCQ is, sulfonamides are broad spectrum bacteriostatic antibiotics. Sulfonamides inhibit the folic acid synthesis in bacteria. Next MCQ is, a reason for increasing antibiotic resistance in bacteria is their use in diseases in which they have no efficacy. Antibiotics are not effective against infections caused by viruses. There are some infections that don't eliminate even with new antibiotics. Well students, these are some of the important short questions and MCQs in the given topics. The next topic of vaccine will be discussed in the next video, inshallah. Okay, thank you very much.